Hi everyone, this is Mr. Coyle with the first third of our presentation on gamification. I'll be talking about what is gamification as well as the pros of gamification, which will be followed by Mr. Benz talking about the cons and Mr. Seehofer talking about examples of gamification. So first off, what is gamification? If you look at the screen, you'll see a definition, and it is the process of adding games or game-like elements to something so as to encourage participation. And that's by Merriam-Webster Dictionary. And game elements are things like point scoring, competition, and rules of play. So basically our group definition is it's making something that's not a game into a game. It's very helpful, and I'll be talking about those pros right here. So the pros include training. You can use it to train employees or train students. Metrics, which are just instant feedback for the teacher or the employer as to where the students or user of the game is struggling. Engagement is the third one, which is it gets the students involved, gets them engaged in the learning and the lesson. Real world relation, this is things like, you'll see a flight simulator on that slide, but it's a more practical use than just normal lecture teaching. You'll actually get your hands on and do a realistic simulation of a real life scenario. It's not new, which I'll explain in a slide later, and it doesn't require a lot, which is pretty self-explanatory. So for training, gamification provides brand new and interesting ways to help students get trained in on new programs. In the first week or so of class, we played Connect 4 with the Smartboard, which was our professor's way of showing us practice with using the Smartboard, and then things like dragging our names over, and it's just a really easy way to get people trained in with new technology. Metrics, I don't know a whole lot about metrics, but I know it's basically feedback that the person running the game can see, and it shows what questions people are getting wrong, or what the users are struggling with. So it's a really good way for the instructor to track progress of the class or of the employees. Engagement, like I talked about earlier, gamification not only increases results, but it also increases student engagement in the classroom. So in the picture there you see the children, they're a lot more engaged than if they just had to sit in their chair and listen to the teacher talk. It's a lot more fun, basically, is what gamification does. It makes everything more fun and more engaging and easy to follow along. Real world relation, gamification helps students take problems they learn about and relate it to the real world. So like this example, my roommate right now is going to be a pilot, and he says in their classes they do flight simulators all the time. It's because it's a lot more easier and effective than actually getting up in a plane and flying around. So this way he gets real world experience with flying without actually having to be in the plane. And there's other examples we'll talk about later, like business simulators and real life, like life management skills, basically. So those are other examples of real world relations that we talked about later by Mr. Seehofer. It's not new. The picture above is basically, it's supposed to be reinventing the wheel. We're not doing that with this. It's everyone has experienced gamification one way or another. Like I said, we'll be talking about examples in a little bit. Everyone throughout their elementary, middle, high school education has played gamification, whether it's something like Jeopardy or like simulators that we've played in class, or just avoiding points to the group finishing first, things like that. I did that in my field experience. It's not new. It's really easy to use and do. It doesn't require a lot. Simply a smartboard would do the trick. You don't actually need any technology, but for the focus of this class, it makes sense to use technology. Things like Connect 4, any games you play on smartboard, like Jeopardy plays in class a lot. Knowledge Bowl, you just need the strips in this board. So yeah, it doesn't require a whole lot of technology. Thank you. So that's it for the pros and for what is gamification, which is basically, making something that's not a game into a game. Next, if you'll please go on to the next video on the slide, which will be Mr. Benz talking about the cons and an example of gamification. Thank you.